to start us off today, we have a question from Thomas, two-parter actually. Thomas asks, an ASIN got updated to use AZ SKU, okay, for inbound ship somehow. We use manufacturer barcode for all other ASINs. Can we switch this? AZ says it's not eligible, but we meet all criteria. We don't want to pay AZ 55 cents per unit label fee. We can't update our process to label before shipping. Thanks. Yeah, so Thomas, the way that you have to essentially do this is you have to create a secondary listing of your exact same ASIN. So you need to go through the process of creating that new listing and create that under the manufacturer barcode. Unfortunately, a lot of times when you do this, you actually have to create a new ASIN for your product, and then you'll have to go through a merge with the product, which the unfortunate part there is that you have to contact seller support to actually get ASINs merged together. So to do that, again, you can actually check out on our YouTube channel here. If you just type in, manufacturer barcode probably into our YouTube search, you'll be able to pull up a video near instantly where we've gone through the entire process of this, step by step. But yeah, you have to essentially create a brand new product with that manufacturer barcode and have that sent in. So hopefully that can help you out a little bit and get you started on the right path. You do have to contact seller support again if you have to go through that merge process. Great first question starts off. I also noticed we have a new member, Touchstone. Thank you for being a member. Always appreciated. Did Touchstone ask anything? He did. He asked, along with that, updating listings using flat files. Does Amazon save values in blacked out attributes? Also, can you save value in attributes that are not related to your product type, and what's the impact? So Touchstone, when you are updating with a flat file, Amazon will not update anything if you do a partial update that you do not change the field for. So if it's a blacked out attribute of some kind, the actual blacked out boxes, if that's what you're talking about, are attributes you can't update. But the ones that aren't blacked out, there's blank boxes. If you do partial, it won't update. If you do a full update on any ASIN, it will update every single aspect in the flat file. So it means doing a full update would show if you have a blank for your title. Well, guess what? Now your product is not going to have a title, unfortunately. So that's why we always want to stick with partial updates. It will only update the areas that you actually add new information into. That's one thing that I would always encourage. As for saving values that are not related to your product type, what's the impact? Yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, you could theoretically put those values in, but they're not going to matter because, again, Amazon focuses on the category. They can show up technically on the product page. I wouldn't do it. You're not going to have any plus side to that. And likely what will end up happening is you're going to run into some error codes when you go and upload it. So a great example would be, don't have anything relating to lithium batteries updated on something that has no lithium batteries in it, right? That's not going to help you from an SEO perspective, and that's the bigger aspect of that. So yeah, just make sure whenever you're doing those flat file updates, partial update for majority of them. If you really need to do a full update, make sure you grab a category listing report beforehand, a full product to be able to get every single detail that you have in there. Great question. Thanks again, Touchstone, for being a member. Let's do Chris. Would you try to mimic images that your competitor is doing? For example, a competitor has their hero image with a Christmas theme on it. Should I try and mimic that competitor? Yeah, I mean, Christmas theme is something I'm, always going to be encouraging of, depending on the category. If you have a fairly giftable type of product, Christmas theme can be pretty nice and doing it across the board. I like doing the, little ribbon a lot of times, a little bow or a little ribbon inside. I wonder if I can actually find anything real fast with a Christmas themed kind of show, but let's just do present. I don't see one right immediately with any form of Christmas theme, unfortunately, as I searched on Amazon. Really, more people should do that. I mean, the closest thing, I guess, to what I'm kind of talking about here would be this, where someone has a little thing that says perfect gift, right? So that's probably the closest thing that I'm kind of talking about, but I would rather have this be like a little ribbon or a little bow on top of the product. So yeah, if it seems like it's helping conversion, I always would encourage it this time of year. Don't do it obviously year round, and make sure you change it back after Christmas to your normal one. But overall, yeah, I think it's something that you definitely can do that can somewhat help conversion. Think of it as like a minor click-through rate hack. Good questions. Let's do Steve. I know you can't put your competitor brand name on the search term listing, but can you do it if it's in misspelled form? Are you talking like the actual name of the brand in your like search terms and in the idea? I mean, technically, yeah. The big thing that you just need to watch out for there, Steve, is just not having any brand in your search terms or on your product that isn't your own. That's where you're going to run into issues, is having a brand that's not your own. So, I mean, look, if the brand is, deluxe, right? And you spell deluxe, but with a K, but it turns out Deluxe is a brand, then yeah, you can still get dinged for that kind of thing. So you gotta be kind of careful with it. How you go about it really depends on how it's being misspelled and how closely it is to the actual brand name when you're doing that search term. Good question, though. I like that kind of one. We got Mr. Jeffrey Valen. Always happy to see you back, sir. Is anyone else having issue under payments, all statement tabs, where biweekly report appears to be stuck, showing in progress with no flat file v2? Support no help. I don't know, Jeff. Let me check for you. Let's go to payments here, and let's go to, you said all statements, huh? I would say no, because ours is currently showing. So I'm on a different account right now. Ours is showing. The most recent one, I should say, is showing available after settlement close, and that's just because we're in present place. But all of the other ones are download via E2. So the in progress, typically, Jeff, just to let you know, that means that essentially you are in between the time of settlement close date and the actual transaction being sent. This could be related to Amazon having extended return windows, but it's unlikely that's the case. Unfortunately, if seller support's no help, I would just be kind of curious how long you've had this issue. Have you been having the issue for like a day, a week? How long is it? So that could give me a little more information to go off of, but unfortunately, this sounds more like you're having some issues on just Amazon and in general more than anything. Good stuff. Let's see. Sunny asks, can you please tell how to create Amazon bulk listing of FBA? If you're talking about like actually creating the listings in bulk, the easiest way would be doing add products via upload. So let me actually just get out of this all statements thing so I can actually show you. So if we share screen here, you would just come over a catalog. You do add products via upload. The things that you need to know here is the downloading of spreadsheet. So when you're doing spreadsheet of any kind, you're always going to want to do it by the actual templates. You can do the listing loader. I'm not a big fan of the listing loader in the slightest. I just wouldn't do it. What I would do instead is I would get a product template. And you can just come here, get the product template. Okay, got it. Search for the products, type. So if they're all the same type, it makes it a lot easier. If they're not all the same type, then you're going to have to get multiple product templates to upload. But what you can essentially do is get, let's say, I don't know, let's do balloons. Search for this. This is never correct. I mean, theoretically it is, but I always want to do product category, especially if it's not like a super specific product. So we can just do balloons here. And let's say that I have specifically party supplies, decorations, balloons. I would just select that. That's going to give me the exact one that I'm looking for. Then, first doing Amazon.com, that works. Generate spreadsheet, and that'll give you the spreadsheet that you need. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of help there, Sunny. Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to do. At the end of the day, if that's going to actually work for you and how many different types of products you have realistically. Let's see. Wise. What metrics should sellers prioritize in analyzing PPC performance? Tacos, ACoS, or ROAS, and how do they align with long-term growth goals? I don't know why I say align like that, but I did. It's kind of a weird accent. So my favorite metric for measuring, I would say, ad performance versus, account performance is always going to be tacos. The reason for that is I have always been of the firm belief that it does not matter how much money you're spending on advertising, nor what your ACoS is, as long as your tacos stays at 10%. If that is your overall goal, I should say. If growth is your goal, then it does not matter how much you're spending on advertising. People in a non-Amazon market, and this is where I think Amazon sellers in general get way too caught up in their head of how a brand and a business should work, right? Because in a non-Amazon market where you don't get to necessarily always correlate advertising to a direct number of sales, think of something like a billboard. How many businesses out there run billboard campaigns? How often do you think that they can really see a direct correlation return on investment from a billboard to, a sale of some kind? Probably not very often. So it's really realistically, tacos is always going to be my favorite metric because it's an actual business metric. You are advertising and you are spending ad dollars and you are increasing your overall business. It is not tied directly to a direct sale. It's not tied to a product. It's not tied to anything like that. So if you are focused solely on advertising and understanding where your ads are at, ACoS is going to be your best goal. ROAS is a decent margin, but ROAS is so dependent on category, right? So a great example of that would be, it's great to have, let's say, a 3 ROAS. But what if, you're in a super, super competitive market and advertising isn't necessarily always your goal? ROAS makes a lot more sense for things like, meta ads. I like ROAS when it comes to meta ads, but realistically, yeah, the tacos is always, always, always going to be my go-to metric to really understand the performance of your advertising alongside your whole business. Let's see. How do you determine the right budget allocation for new campaigns during peak seasons like Black Friday or Prime Day to balance visibility and profitability? Well, I mean, I think the best way to put this is not necessarily how do you determine the right budget allocation for new campaigns, and rather just understanding budgets and what you should be doing during these times in general. So during major holidays, selling seasons, anything like that, your average budget, so let's say that you have an average budget on your campaigns of $100. Assume that that budget is going to need to be at least doubled, if not tripled, during major selling seasons. The reason for this just comes down to people are going to be a lot more on the platform, so your ads are going to be a lot more active. Overall, what you typically should do during these times is actually roll back on how much you're spending on the ads from a bid adjustment level, but not a budgetary level. Increasing your budget is just common sense during, major selling seasons. Again, think of non-Amazon, and, I know I'm talking a lot of, non-Amazon, even Google, Meta, anything like that. You have to think of how many other people are advertising right now, and, what are they spending on advertising? It's just so much more expensive, and there's so many more eyes. People are going to be clicking more, so it's going to cost you more. That's why you need to be rolling down the amount of bids you're doing, but increasing your overall budget. So you need to start with where is your average budget and roll back from there. If your average budget is $10, okay, new campaigns, set them up at $30. If your average budget is $50, set it up at $150. These are the type of things that really will, make you understand a little bit better, but you can't just essentially roll in and say, yeah, I'm going to set up a campaign and say, yeah, here's a, $10,000 a day budget, right? What's your ad budget in general, and how much can you realistically allocate to new campaigns? A wise again. What should be the best timeline or period for auto campaign for a new seller? What do you mean timeline or period? I know sellers that have been on the platform for over a decade at this point in time, nearly 2 decades, that are still running auto campaigns. Auto campaigns in the right form capacity with the right negations are fantastic. Doesn't matter how long you have been around, they are fantastic. So, what I would always, 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 always encourage would be essentially make sure you're negating your auto campaigns regularly when you're looking at doing optimizations. That's really what it comes down to. There's no timeline or period that you need to stick to for an auto campaign. It just comes down to optimization of them. Jeff, again, what is your opinion on the best way to find a good Amazon influencer? I'm selling supplements. Well, I have a few lines of thought here. Line number one of thought would be, obviously, you can always check creator connections. Personally, kind of sucks. My opinion, it just not necessarily doing creator connections, but the platform itself, it constantly breaks. It's impossible to get more than 25 minutes of use out of it before it shuts down for some reason, deletes your campaigns all the time. Amazon just has not done a good job of like keeping that system well operating. Secondarily to that, Levanta is a great one. I always love kind of, pumping them up. I love the Levanta guys over there. They have a great product. I would check them out. They are built specifically for like Amazon influencers, not Amazon influencers, but like influencers working with Amazon brands, I should say. So Levanta, they're great. Past that, it's something I used to do back in the day. I don't know how realistic this is now, but I would look up influencers around my specific supplement. So I would see who is already doing, some influencer marketing around my niche, around whatever it is I was doing at the time. And I would just contact them. Go to Instagram, send them a DM. A lot of times nowadays, these type of people, if they're large enough, will have just an email in their bio that you should be able to contact for whatever reason. That's where I would start realistically if I was going back to it, I suppose. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to go about it. If you want to make it super simple, easy, go something like Levanta. If you want to put the time and effort and just kind of do your own thing, then I would go the route of, doing some manual research on, Instagram. TikTok as well nowadays, I guess, technically. TikTok wasn't around when I was doing influencer marketing. So I feel like probably TikTok is more influential nowadays than even Instagram. Deepak, photo shoot versus a 3D render for a decor item. I'm always going to be a photo shoot guy personally. I think 3D renders has its purpose. 3D renders works a lot better with like more technical products. It's just, how do I put this? 3D render is very good for a very technical product that has, for instance, very small parts. Great example, let's say that you sell 3D lighting accessories and you need to show off the hologram that comes from a 3D projector. That is something that you probably can't take a very good picture of. I would very much recommend in that scenario to have a 3D render. So that's my kind of take on it. Decor items, just take a picture of it. Big Step products. I have two similar items under a separate listing. One has 28 ratings, the other one 42. Would it help to convert them to parent-child in order to show 70 reviews? Yeah, it would. If they're similar items, absolutely. I'm always going to be a fan of a parentage at the end of the day. It's a way to not only save money and time, but also to increase your reviews. What I will tell you is I personally don't think reviews matter too much on products until you get past, even 100. I would say that's like the minimum threshold for what I would consider being like, worth it as far as reviews go. But What I will say is 70 looks a lot better than 28 or 42. So yeah, absolutely go through and create a parentage there. The only time I really think that products that are similar and are variations of each other shouldn't be in a parentage, and if you're looking at it from a review perspective, if you're gonna lose or if you're gonna have less than 500 to 1,000 reviews on any given one of the variations, if you break it apart, then it should not be broken apart as the parentage. The parentage should stay together until you can say, yeah, this product will have 500, this product will have 800, and anything less than that, it's really just not worth it, right? Because reviews are major once you get into that 1,000 range of reviews. So yeah, parent them together. I heard rumors that combined reviews sometimes erases reviews. Is that true? No. That is not true in the slightest. I don't know why anyone would start that rumor. The only time something like that happens is when people parent incorrectly. That can happen, and then people just get reviews from one product or the other. But all you have to do is just break the parentage and then put them back together the way they're supposed to. So it's technically a false rumor, has some truth merits behind it, but it's more so created, I guess, in ignorance than anything else. Amazon's not going to delete reviews. Actually, reviews are one of the few things that Amazon is major serious about. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Let's see. Deepak, again, my first shipment contains 84 boxes. As per the policies, I have to put them in pallets, correct? I mean, technically, no. You could theoretically ship in 84 different boxes to Amazon. It's going to cost you a lot of money, a lot more than it will to just put out. I wouldn't personally ship in 84 individual boxes to Amazon because that would add an extraordinary level of pricing onto the product and cost. But teach their own. You don't have to technically do anything there. What I will say is, do I recommend you put them onto pallets? Yeah, it's going to be a lot cheaper that way. A lot cheaper that way. All right, we got David. Let's see what David has. Hey, Noah. Hey, I have a product. Was out of stock, I assume, for 2 months. Trying to ranking again, gain ranking, I'm guessing. Optimizing SEO, click-through rate, main image. Okay, good. Influencer push, love it. Would recommend price strategy and how to gain ranking, I'm guessing you're asking. I have 72 reviews. Best timing. Yeah, so if you were out of stock, I mean, my pricing strategy is always going to be as soon as you're back in stock, throw a discount up, right? Throw a 20-25% discount up. Amazon, it's not like an official thing, but Amazon has almost like a rubber band effect when listings are down and they start losing ranking, where as soon as they get back in stock and as soon as they're back in, if you start getting some sales volume again on the product, it can usually rubber band back because Amazon is looking at a longer term 90-day window typically when it comes to overall ranking on things, right? They're not looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, right? They're looking at the long term. What is this product doing? It's why you can see random brands, they're like rank 1 and then all of a sudden they run out of stock and they go to like rank 600 and then they get back in stock and they're back to like rank 2 or 3 within a week. Yes, usually they have some brand loyalty there, but at the same time, there is a bit of a rubber band effect when it comes to getting sales volume back in. So absolutely push as much of a discount as you feasibly can for at least a week or two to try and get some volume back where you can. But yeah, unfortunate. I would say best case scenario, always have a good forecasting strategy. John Webster. Let's see. I am 1P. Ooh, okay. Currently negotiating my AVN contract. Ooh, even bigger. Oof. Are there ways to get out of spends like merchandising spends that are not helpful for my brand's current size? Any other tips for this process? No, not really. The only real thing you can do here, unfortunately, John, is pretty much just continue negotiating and put a firm fist down. The issue when it comes to 1P and Vendor Central in general is that it's dying, right? Amazon got some new, I guess, investors is the best way to put it. maybe 2-3 years ago. Vendor Central was the primary investment there for them. Because of that, there was a big shakeup in leadership. It's why in the last 2-3 years, it's been near impossible for anyone to get any form of Vendor Central rep, because they pretty much slashed the entire Vendor Central rep, department, and now they also outsourced it outside the U.S. So it's not even a U.S. rep that you're getting most of the time. With that as well, they are heavy focused on profitability, is why they have started kicking people off of Vendor Central, because they are not meeting a certain profit threshold. Now, this is not official by any means, but this is a general sentiment that I have heard, and kind of what makes sense based on what I have seen as well, is that products under $60 must have at least a 60% profit margin for Amazon to consider it to be a viable, and this is Amazon profit margin, I should say, for Amazon to consider it to be a viable product to continue selling. I know that seems insane, but that is, I've seen it many a times across products at this point, where they are essentially kicking people off based on not being profitable enough in their selected category. Unfortunately, and this is, again, the unfortunate part here, is there's not a lot you can do with Amazon Vendor Central contracts. They have a lot more, pull on their end than you do on your end. My best advice would be start prepping now to have a 3P avenue that you can go down. Start having some listings created, get your Seller Central account set up, and start prepping in the eventuality that you may want to move off of 1P or be forced off of 1P. So best of luck to you. Again, negotiation wise, the best thing that I've always essentially had clients do who worked with VC was have firm lines on what you will and will not do, and actually have it be a negotiation rather than Amazon just being like, no, you have to do this. If you come back to them with something that's just otherworldly and doesn't make sense, they obviously are just going to shut you down immediately. It's an unfortunate part about working with them. Amazon doesn't really care about you. Oh, hey. Amazon often overcounts inbound inventory, e.g. I send 1,000 units and they count 1,001. They always say their count is correct, but Amazon is great at fixing undercounts. Any tips for overcounts? No, not really. Amazon overcounts, I've always just taken with, a grain of salt. Realistically, I just kind of take this mentality that assume 5%. 5% is kind of high. 1 to 5% of your inventory that gets sent into FBA is just incorrect, right? From an Amazon standard. It's usually about that, right? So in your case, it's a little less than that. If it's by over 1, or, it's under 20, let's say, right? That's somewhere in the realm of 0.5%, right? The big thing to understand with Amazon, how they do this, is that will be corrected with time. Even an overcount, even if they say at the time that no, they have it correct, could be corrected at time. Now, the big thing to understand as well is that you likely could have sent in on accident 1 extra unit. That is entirely possible as well. Similar to how you have sent in, let's say 1,000 units before, they counted 1,000 or 968, and then they did a recount and it's 999, I say. That's entirely possible. It's also possible they just found 1 extra unit that they didn't count a previous time. So these things happen. It's a warehouse at the end of the day. That's something I think people tend to forget, is that it's a warehouse. It's people counting stuff. Yes, they have machines that, scan the barcodes and whatnot, but it's still just a warehouse. This will be solved with time. If you're really, really, really worried about your overall inventory levels at FBA, ask them to do a bin check and do a full count of everything you have in stock. They probably will tell you either no or charge you for it. But if that's something you're actually genuinely worried about, that's what I would do. It's not like it's going to hurt you to have 1 extra inventory unit at the end of the day. David, my product is like 50% giftable. Should I try hard in this season or take it slowly and not overspend? No, absolutely try. Your season is running out. You have a week and a half left, maybe 2 weeks if you're lucky, to get some sales volume from this season. If it's like 50% giftable, yeah, just add some extra flair onto it from a Christmas aspect. Add some extra ad dollars in where you can. Maybe throw a promotion on there, right? You know, and throw 10%, throw a coupon for 5%, something like that to see if you can get just a little extra revenue. It's what Q4 is about, right? Q4 is about trying to get as much revenue in the door as you possibly can. That's what I'm always going to tell people. Amelia, can I start with an individual account and then upgrade to a pro account whilst opening my LLC and researching my product? Yeah, absolutely. You can always start with your individual account and then upgrade to pro later on. That's not an issue. Riyadh, what minimum gross profit margin percentage do you shoot for to make a product be able to scale with ads and still be profitable? Personally, I will not launch a product myself that I have less than a 30% margin on. If you have anything less than a 30% margin, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Realistically speaking, you need at least that. And I'm talking 30% margin after cost of goods, after all Amazon fees, after all shipping fees, etc. The only thing I don't include in that margin is something like advertising, right? Because I look at advertising as more of a business expense than a direct product cost. So the business I am looking at having, a 30% margin. So product, how do I have to look at products? Well, again, 30% is kind of the minimum gross profit that I would probably look at, just because you're not going to be able to do promotions otherwise. You're not going to be able to run advertising otherwise. There's a lot of reasons behind it, right? But 30% in this day and age is kind of what you have to go for, and that's a very minimum. Realistically, if I were to right now launch a new brand myself, which I have no current plans on doing, but if I were to get back in the game and launch another brand myself, I would probably shoot somewhere in the ballpark of between 45 and 60% gross if I can. That's going to be probably where you're going to get your money's worth realistically. And that's a competitive 45 to 60%. That's like I could theoretically be at, let's say, 70, 80% if I wanted to raise my prices and just not sell as much. I don't know if that really answered your question fully, Riyadh, but I think that's really up to everyone. But that's kind of my general thoughts on it. Let's see, Deepak. Adding to David's question, product 50% gift. Okay. Isn't it better to make a new listing versus trying to relaunch the existing listing in case of a new launch? Yeah. Are you talking? So let's go back to David's question. This one. No. Okay. So if we're talking about this one with him being out of stock, and then Deepak, you're saying, isn't it better to make a new listing versus trying to relaunch the existing listing in case of a new launch? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You had 2 months of out of stock is not enough for you to say, yeah, I'm going to fully launch it. Sneezed. Bless me. 2 months out of stock is definitely not enough to say, yeah, I'm going to fully just create a new listing for this product and try and go for a new launch. That is not at all a long enough period of time out of stock, in my opinion. If we're talking like 6 months, maybe, right? Like maybe, but 2 months, no. Try and go for within that 90 days. If you're within that 90-day window, try and go for that relaunch of your current listing, because otherwise, you're just going to miss out on all that sales history, right? And where that product has been, that history that can really again rubber band you back. Let's see here. Zulfikar, I believe I probably butchered that, but either way, please tell us PPC strategy for newly launched product. Thanks. Talk about this every single week. So if I butcher it this time, feel free to go back to the week before this and that and before that. We also have like 10 YouTube videos on this, so feel free to watch those that I have recorded as well. Here's my general sentiment around new launch PPC strategy. Do proper keyword research. Set up competitor campaigns right off the bat, targeting category and specific ASINs. Set up exact campaigns for your top 10 most relevant keywords. Set up 3 of these different campaigns. So you're essentially targeting your top 30. Don't target more than 5 to 10 keywords per each campaign. Do not focus on broad when you first launch in the slightest. It's not going to help you. You can focus on phrase, but make sure that you are very specific with it. Negate anything that is overspending and not leading to conversions off the bat. And step 1, auto campaign. That's the very, very, very high level. Again, million different videos on this. Feel free to, get real in depth with it. I have one that, constantly I push all the time. It's, here's your perfect PPC launch. Let's see how to get deals to open for my products. Ooh, I've access to coupons, Prime exclusive discounts, promotions, but deals are not recommended for my products, even though my products are eligible as per Amazon terms of service. This could be a category thing. Some categories are restricted from deals, unfortunately. But if you're saying it is, terms of service eligible, the thing that I would probably ask you to actually look into, and let me open this up to see if I can show you this real quick. Oh, I don't have access to this. Here we go. Let me share this tab. Here we go. All right. So I'm assuming you've already read through all of this, but here's some things that could be and are the typical reasons as to why you don't have access to deals and whatnot and have the access to do them. Quality is the number one. A lot of people will have like a 3.9 star rating and be like, why can't I do a deal? Well, because you need a 4-star rating. The other aspect of that is sales history. People don't understand, and to be fair, it's because Amazon doesn't really give a great idea of what is sales history. I think by and large, you're not going to see deals pop up if you are only getting, let's say 10, 20, 30 sales a week. That's just not going to happen. You need actual sales history for an extended period of time before you actually get full access to that deals dashboard. This is by far the number one thing that I see people mess up when they are looking at eligibility and not understanding. The secondary aspect to that is category. Are you a restricted product? Look at all of the restricted products. Deals have a different restriction than ads and have a different restriction than promotions. Do I know why? No, because Amazon doesn't make anything easy for anyone at the end of the day, unfortunately. Secondarily to that, feedback, that's another one. A minimum of 5 ratings per month. The per month aspect is the one that people always mess up. They think, oh, I have 5, feedbacks. Okay. When is the last time you got a feedback? How many are you getting per month? This has to be an average of 5 ratings per month. So you need to be getting to the point in which you are getting 5 or more ratings per month consistently. And they have to be good ratings. Again, these are the biggest areas that I typically see people mess up when they are looking for deal eligibility. If any of those are incorrect, and even if you think they are correct, I would double check because it is very, very rare that people don't, or that people have that. The big thing as well, just to throw this out there again. You may notice the 3.5 stars that up here, overall rating of at least 4 stars. These two are obviously counter intuitive. I have seen people with technically under 4 stars. So I think this is an older metric than this one, just as a FYI. Riyadh, I noticed another seller on my listing was Amazon. When did they start selling my used/return inventory at a discount? Ooh, I love this one because for some reason people always forget about it. So let's pull this up. Inventory. So this is a part of your unfulfillable inventory, which I will pull up real quick, the actual settings for. So if we go here and we go to our manage all inventory, where is the actual, here it is. So let's just share screen. All right. So Riyadh, what you're going to do, you're going to click this button. It says remove unfulfillable inventory. It's going to come here. It's going to show all your stuff. You're going to click this button, auto removal settings. This auto removal settings is where you need to make some changes. If Amazon will load. Oh, and my internet is being all funky. There we go. All right, we're back, I think. Hopefully. I might lag here in a sec. Either way. You'll have to have this enabled. It is required to have it enabled. Amazon changed this last year. It's unfortunate, but it's what happens. What they're likely doing is doing grade and resell. I would turn this off. It is awful to do. And same thing with refurbishment. I also turn off liquidations. I personally don't like any of these. If you're going to do any of them, I would probably do refurbishment. But grade, resell, liquidations, Amazon can sell technically under any of these. They will take the used products, they'll grade and resell it, and they can essentially enroll the ASINs. I always choose to return rather than dispose. The secondary area of this, technically speaking, you can go to, where is it? I believe we're under fulfillment by Amazon, maybe? Secondary area, this is Amazon. Yeah, so it is this. Allow Amazon to buy my products, sell globally. I always disable this as well. This is an area that can easily, they'll sell it in another country. Then they'll make a change to the listing or the ASIN there. And it can affect your listing and how your brand is viewed. So don't let Amazon just buy your products and then sell them for a profit. Let's see. Oh, I lost my placement. Oh, here it is. Steve, just to be more precise on my question, let's say the brand is Nero Pouch. Can you have the word Nero in the search term? I mean, yeah, you can have the word Nero. I mean, you could have Nero in there. Nero is an actual word. I mean, at least I think it is. So yeah, Nero's a word. So yes, to answer your question, that's a word. So, I mean, theoretically, you could have the actual word in there as well. You could have the misspellings for it as well. I mean, there shouldn't be a huge issue. I mean, Nero Pouch isn't even like the big thing. It's like there's Nero Gum as well. So you're probably going to run into Nero Gum as the issue is if a brand is going to come up. So that's where you run into issues. So if we look, I mean, I just did a quick search on Nero, right? And this will tell you a lot. We have Nero for Nero Gum. So this is the functional gum mints. We have Nero Sleep. We have Nero the drink. Good stuff, by the way. If you guys haven't tried this, try Nero the drink. They have all sorts of different types. Love them. Anyways, but it's also a word. So you're not going to run into an issue with like Nero Pouch. You're going to run into an issue with the fact that Nero is a brand name, if anything, right? And is it a competing brand? Is it one of your competitors? I don't know. That's just something I would look into. Realistically, it's hard for Amazon to ding you for every single word because there's so many brands out there, right? So that's the biggest thing I always keep in mind. Just don't do very blatantly obvious brand attacks, I suppose is the best way to put it. As if, hi Noah, Wickham, hello. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for the session. I truly value your expertise and insights. Yeah, I'm always happy to. Let's see. We want to capture a share of our competitors' sales. They're selling a lot, but we have an advantage with a better price point and good value on our product, even though we don't have reviews yet. What strategies would you suggest to achieve this through PPC? Considering our situation, what would be the best PPC strategy? Should we focus on sponsored display ads, sponsored product ads, or ASIN targeting to maximize our performance? a mix. ASIN targeting, absolutely. Do ASIN targeting product page, but also make sure you're going after their branded keywords. Do branded keywords top a search, especially if they are a high ranking. I would assume on their own keywords there, but if they're high ranking in the category as well, absolutely. That's the really, really, really big thing, is making sure to go after both the ASINs, but the branded keywords as well. And then for your overall brand and for their branded keywords, throw in a sponsored brand or a sponsored display. That's always going to be a favorite of mine, to dominate your competitors' branded keywords with your own brand at the very top in a giant bubble. There's nothing that will make me happier than seeing someone type in, let's say, I don't know, Nero, for instance, and instead of Nero popping up, the very first thing that people see, it's a Coca-Cola. I don't know, right? But you get my point. I love doing that. So sponsor display, absolutely. But on top of that, the ASIN targeting is good. Branded keywords for exact campaigns. And then from there, make sure you do a lot of top of search to try and beat them on their own branded. Hope that helps. Riyadh, why does Amazon sometimes spend significantly more per click than what our bid is? In general, will Amazon try to spend very close to your bid per click? If you're talking about like Amazon selling a competitor product, let's say, and they're sponsored in some capacity, I'm not too sure. Realistically, I don't know much about Amazon's own advertising practices. I would guess it costs them significantly less to advertise products if they're doing like Vendor Central. But if you are talking about Vendor Central, I will let you know that Vendor Central products advertising is 9 times out of 10 controlled by the brand that Amazon is selling the product of. So it's not like Amazon is trying to spend significantly more per click than what your bid is. It's that whoever is controlling it is going to try and bid against you. It's same as if they were the ones selling it. So if that's your issue and it's just Amazon fulfilled and sold by Amazon products, yeah, that's just some brand, advertising guy at the brand controlling the Vendor Central advertising. Does Amazon play a part in it? Yes, absolutely. They usually help with the campaigns. They help with how much the budget should be, etc. But it's not always just going to be Amazon controlling that kind of stuff. Amelia, can I start with an individual? Yeah, it's this. Yeah, you can start with individual. It's not an issue. FOI True Face. Okay. It's a dilemma. Dilemma. For a long time, if we do heavy marketing, either we sell it on loss, or item becomes too expensive. And if I keep it cheaper, Amazon doesn't push the item. So how to make a profit and value? Amazon is a pay-to-play platform. Unfortunately, it just is. It is not something you can grow on at this point in time without spending money on advertising. You cannot grow on Amazon without spending any money on advertising. If someone wants to prove me wrong on that and launch a product that is 100% organic, has no promotions and no advertising whatsoever, and does super well, please do link it to me, send it to me on LinkedIn, and I will be more than happy to look at it because I would love to see that kind of stuff in the modern day and age, because it just doesn't happen anymore and you can't do it. Amazon is a marketing platform that you also sell products on. That is all it is. If you don't have the profit margin to do advertising, it's unfortunate, but there's not much you can do. Raise your price, yeah, there's not a cheaper, there's not an easy way to go about that. Unfortunately, that's just a profit analysis. What I would probably look at is try and see what you can raise your price to. Focus where you're actually doing your advertising. Does it make sense for you to cut back and only do some broad matches that are category specific for people to be looking at? Should you really hone in on one specific keyword at a time and that's what you can afford because you can only afford to, let's say, spend $100 on advertising a week or a month, that's fine. But figure out what that marketing strategy is, because unfortunately, yeah, you have to have something. That's just how Amazon works. John Kim, my account is 4 months and just created FBM listing, but I am not featured offer eligible. Ooh. I'm the only one in the world producing this product under my own brand. Why am I not able to get the buy box? A couple of different reasons. So I go over this all the time. There's a lot of reasons as to why you won't get the buy box. I guess I'll share a product and we'll go through it. There's a lot of reasons, John, unfortunately, as to why you might not get featured offer. I'll go through a couple of them. First and foremost, ratings. Are you getting negative ratings on your product? Is your product negative rated? That can affect this. What is the price of your product? Is your product extremely expensive comparatively to other products, right, in the category? Is your product being sold on Shopify or Walmart? Is it more expensive on Amazon than it is on those? Let's say it's not one of those things, right? Let's go to like you as a person. So this company, what is your feedback rating? Do you have a negative feedback rating? Guess what? That affects this as well. It affects featured offer. Is your, let's do this. Is your account health? I'll go over here. How's your account health? What's your on-time delivery rate? Is it above 90? What's your valid tracking rate? Is it above 95? What's your pre-fulfillment? All of these metrics here in the account health affect your featured offer eligibility. Unfortunately, without looking at the ASIN, I can't really give you a direct reason as to why you might not have featured offer, because featured offer is one of those things that there could be so many different reasons as to why, unfortunately. So that's just the case. Let's see here. Big Step Procs, thank you. You're welcome. Greetings. This Black Friday was amazing for me. Congrats. But I only have stock for 2 more weeks. Next inventory will reach on March. Is it better to rise my prices or keep the momentum? Rise your prices. So it sounds like you're gonna run out of stock, right? So here's the thing. If you raise your prices right now and you have a ton of momentum going, what is the likelihood that at least some of that momentum keeps coming with the raised prices? Pretty likely. And then on top of that, that means, guess what? You're just making more profit at the end of the day. So absolutely raise your prices. There is zero reason not to, especially if you only have stock for 2 more weeks and you're going to be out of stock for the next 3 months. So make all the profit you can while you can. Don't raise it so much that like it's ridiculous, because then you'll just get a high pricing error and the product will be taken down regardless. But it's unfortunate the situation you're in. I'm really glad that you had a great Black Friday. Come back to us in March when you get that product back and we can talk some relaunch strategies for you. Pratik, indexing is done based on child variation or parent variation, as when product A is going well in ads, but once A is out of stock, then in same ads, we can add product B in same ads and pause product A. Will gauge the same results. Our products are apparel, so we have variations in color, sizes. Yeah, this is a bit of a complex topic that I think you're almost oversimplifying in how it kind of works within the algorithm. But to give you a simplified answer, I suppose, indexing is based off of the ASIN. One ASIN in a child can have different indexing of keywords than another ASIN in that same parentage. Another child ASIN, I should say. Does the parentage as a whole have ranking and indexing? Yes, to an extent. Is it everything of all the children combined? No, it is not. When it comes to advertising, ad campaigns have a history. If you just randomly add a product into an advertising campaign, will it do the exact same performance? No, it will not. So just because you have a successful ad campaign for a product doesn't mean you can add a new product in there and expect it to do the exact same. Will you probably still get some, volume there, and you already have some knowledge there as well? Yes, but it's essentially a brand new campaign, right? You're not actually utilizing the history outside of your own knowledge base when it comes to that advertising. So hopefully that kind of helps. Big step. I recently ran out of stock for an item, which will be restocked in about 6 weeks. What can I do in order to be ready and rank better once I have inventory in stock again? Yeah. So as soon as it's back in stock, you're going to want to do a few things. One, ramp your advertising, increase your bids and budgets. Unfortunately, it's going to cost you a little bit. Two, add a promotion in off rip. I always would be a fan of doing like an instant either coupon or just regular promotion. These are going to help you a ton because doing that lower pricing, it's going to drive some conversions to the listing very quickly. You're also going to want to get as much sale volume in as quickly as possible. 6 weeks, thankfully, not that long to be out of stock. You should, again, be able to get some form of rubber banding effect in place and hopefully get some of that sales history to really pick up. So if you get those sales in quickly, might cost you a little bit, but you should get back to some state of normal fairly fast. So that's kind of the primary that I would look at. Just a very good competitive pricing, 20-25% off if you can, and push some ads pretty heavily. Riyadh, I have a product that is an average of 3.6 star rating. Oof. People still buy it, and I don't run ads on it. It still sells, and it's profitable. Should I continue selling it? Yeah. Yes. What kind of question is that? Hey, I have this thing that I have to do nothing for except order product every so often, and it makes me money. Should I keep making money? Yes. What do you mean? Of course you should keep selling it. Like, why wouldn't you keep selling it? That's kind of funny though. Carl, does Amazon penalize you if you send less than the recommended quantity at FBA? Technically no, but you could get hit at some point in time with low inventory fees if you don't have enough inventory. So I just posted a video, I want to say 2 weeks ago, on low inventory fees and diving into how to calculate them yourself, how to calculate how much inventory you need to avoid it, even though Amazon kind of tells you, but they don't at the same time. I would watch that video. It's on our YouTube channel. And it's like how to avoid one of Amazon's sneakiest fees. I think that's the name of the video. Anyhow, go watch that. That'll give you a very good understanding about it and why recommended quantity is a thing on FBA. And then from there, that's the only real downside is you'll get low inventory fees. Pratik, hello. Does thermal product barcode have print validity? Are they readable after 8 to 10 months? If in case we are stuck with some inventory for a longer time? Yeah, I mean, I guess that depends on how good your barcodes are. I'm sure I have some product around here or something. Maybe this one. No, because I bought this not on Amazon. I actually bought this from Best Buy, unfortunately. So I don't have barcode on this for Amazon. To answer your question, yeah, I mean, it just depends on how good your barcoding is, I would suppose. David, just to add to my previous situation, my product was out of stock because the launch was really successful. Amazon take that history in consideration to accelerate my ranking again. If you have a super successful launch and you go out of stock because of it, that is, in my opinion, I was going to say the best situation on Amazon, but I don't want to say the best. It's like close to the best, right? So number one sin on Amazon is always running out of stock. But I would 9 times out of 10 rather someone run out of stock when they launch a product because that launch went so successfully for them than I would ever say, hey, I hope that you launch a product and your product stays in stock for 8 months, right? I want you to launch a product and be so successful with it that you run out of stock not once but twice and then another time because you just can't keep up with demand. That's perfect launch in my opinion. So Amazon will take that into consideration, and that'll be the same exact thing that I'm talking about with that history. So best of luck to you, though, David. It sounds like you have a great product on your hands. Riyadh, have you ever used AI ad tools for Amazon that perform well, such as Helium 10 AI advertising or Adtomic? No. No. I mean, let me say it this way. Have I used AI ad tools that have done performance in some capacity? Yeah, of course I have. Every freaking AI tool out there for advertising is a thing you can use, and it'll give you what it says it'll give you, which is advertising management. If you want true ad performance and optimization, you're never going to be able to truly get that with an AI, at least right now. And the reason for that is that they can study a million things. What they can't perform for is market conditions. They can't perform for competitors, specific products, how the consumer actually purchases products, things like that. That's stuff that an AI just doesn't have the capability for yet. Maybe someday, but just not right now. Marnie. I haven't seen you around here in a while, Marnie. Can you add a variation to your existing listing, but launch it as a separate listing first, and then avail the 30 Vine reviews and later combine it with your old listing? Yeah, I mean, that's just, yeah, you can remove and products from parentages all the time. That's just taking down a parentage and then creating new parentage once you're ready. So yeah, you can take products out of a parentage, you can put them into a parentage, whatever you want to do. It's not an issue. I have 5 variations, but I have PPC for 2 best-selling variations. Now those 2 are running low, and I've raised prices on them. Should I turn on PPC on slow-moving variation, which, by the way, I've lowered prices? Probably, yeah. I understand the idea of advertising only your hero products and then having your slow movers be just kind of getting some residual sales off of those hero products, but realistically, yeah, if you want them to do anything, you're going to have to continuously advertise for those lower ones as well, outside of just be exactly that, backups, essentially. Deepak. If Product Opportunity Explorer shows one variation getting the most clicks, does it mean that customers prefer that variation the most, or is the seller not pushing other variations as much? It can be either or. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it can be either or, right? So if somebody is pushing advertising very heavily, great example. We have Marnie right above this one, right? Right above you, Deepak, saying that they're only advertising 2 of their variations and their other variations aren't doing much. You're now asking the question of, does that mean that the customer prefers it or the seller is not pushing it? That answers your question. The seller is probably not pushing it, but they're also probably not pushing it because customers prefer the ones that they are pushing more. It's not, always a black and white this and that. It can be a multitude of things. Marnie, how can I optimize PPC on a next level? I already have figured out my main keywords and have single keyword campaigns set up. What's the average profitable ACoS and tacos we should aim for? 30% and 10%. That is what I would love to have every account at if I could. 30% ACoS, 10% tacos. If you're looking for aggressive growth, 60% ACoS, 20% tacos. It's also product dependent, I should say, on how much profitability you have. Anyways, how do you optimize it on the next level? Once you get to the point of using like bulk files for PPC, that's probably kind of like the next tier of understanding how to optimize PPC. To really, really dig in, it really comes down to practice. You have to understand how to do negations very well. Always, always, always negate. That's kind of the really next level on optimizing PC. Doing bulk negations, even more so. Just don't over negate. That's another trap I see people fall into. Sucky one at that. Because that can kill your sales real fast. But yeah, that's probably where I would say next level. Figure out your bulk negations, go for there. That's the big stuff. We've been looking at one of our competitors who's ranking on the first page, but not running ads. How can we determine where their traffic is coming from? Use Cerebro. I'm guessing their traffic is mostly organic. If they are like rank number 1 or 2, they are just going to coast off of organic sales. That's just how that works. They likely have a couple of top keywords, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20, that they're ranked number 1 for. And they never are going to have to advertise against those keywords until someone decides to take them down, right? Because they are going to get those organic sales, and they're probably a brand that, can coast off of knowledge of that brand. That is how being rank 1 on Amazon works, unfortunately. So a way to predict if it's coming from external sources or if they're using another strategy to drive traffic? Not really, unless you start to dig around. the best thing I could say is you don't know your competitor well enough until the point in which you are getting their ads on your phone. If you get your competitor's ads on your phone, you have done enough research for them. Otherwise, you're not researching them enough. Shannon has to use publishing performance AI program. No. Maybe, I don't know. Is it one of these talking about regular advertising AI? If so, no. I mean, yeah, I have, but I have no idea what publishing performance AI is. Let's see here. Can FBM products get buy box? Yeah. It should have buy box. Unless you're saying like you're a reseller and you're doing FBM, in which case you're going to share buy box with everyone else who's also doing FBM and reselling the product. Riyadh, is it still best practice to close your listing before running out of stock and make active again once new inventory arrives? I think that's a controversial one, Riyadh. I don't think that's necessarily a best practice all the time. Do I think it's something you could do? And have I done it in the past and it's worked fairly well? Yeah. I'm hit or miss on it. The big aspect of it that you're kind of trying to save yourself from, and the reason it's not necessarily best practice nowadays, is because of how Amazon has implemented the recommended inventory quantities and the low inventory quantities. So it's almost better to run out of stock in some ways, but realistically, yes, keep a few units here and there just so you don't get hit with an out of stock from Amazon. That's where you're going to really get hit hard from Amazon, is getting, out of stock, and then they're going to think that you're not good and you're going to have some storage issues. So that's more so where it comes from. It has nothing to do with the actual product doing well or not. It's entirely to do with how Amazon's internal system works. So would I say to close it down, let's say, I don't know, 5-10 units? Yeah, it just depends on what your recommended inventory level is. All right, guys, we got another 5-10 minutes here, which works well. So we only got a few questions left. So put them in now if you have any. Follow up from John. I probably just yelled in everyone's speakers and blew them out because I moved to the mic at the same time. I did that. My account is healthy, but shipping performance has no data as I only have FBA products. How can I get shipping records if I can't do FBM? Is this critical to get buy box? No, to me, that means that, following up on your thing, it's not an account health issue. Unless by chance, I suppose it could still be a feedback issue or a policy issue. But again, in that capacity, John, likely it is a product specific issue and it has to do with the category. Great question would be, is someone selling a product similar to yours? Someone selling a product that has, similar things, but yours is triple the price of theirs. Is your listing actually set up correctly for FBA? This is also, if you can't do FBM. The can't do FBM is an interesting part. I'd be curious because that makes me think you have a restricted product category for FBM. It also makes me think that you have had issues in the past with shipping products into FBM the correct way, or shipping products from FBM the right way, and they restrict it. So I'd like to know more about that, John. That's where I would probably be leaning to right now. Let's see, Marnie, thank you. Of course. Let's see, Shim, I'm getting 8572 error. I have a GS1 UPC, but my brand is generic, so I don't have a brand yet. What do you do in this scenario? You still need a UPC, brand's generic. Let's see. Oh, error 8572, you say. Let's look that one up. Look, I may be the guy that has recorded every error code video you could imagine, or tried to at the very least, but that doesn't mean I remember them all by heart. You're using UPCs that do not match products you're trying to list. Ooh. So if you are using GS1s in this case, by and large, what this typically means is someone else is using a fake version of your GS1. Best thing to do is, first off, take your UPC, search it in Amazon, see if you can find that product. 2, make sure you submit to Amazon your product details your company registration, your GS1 registration, and then the GS1 that you're trying to submit with that product. That's the only way you can really get around this and make sure that, very clearly Amazon understands this is your UPC. It does not belong on another product. This is, something I would really, really advise. I also will just say this because I have to say it because people constantly think it. Just because you buy a bulk load of UPCs from a website that says real GS1 UPCs does not mean they are real. Go to the GS1 website only. Can't believe I have to say that, but I do because so many people don't understand it. Either way. Sharon Hester, publishing performance, set it and forget it. Simplify your Amazon ads with publishing performances, AI-driven advertising platform. So you're talking about just AI ads. Set it and forget it. Yeah, no. Yeah, let me plant this seed real quick and hope that just the regular rainfall that we get here in the Sahara Desert is enough to really make it grow into a flourishing plant and tree. Like, no. That is my biggest pet peeve with AI ads is that they try and make it seem as it's advertising is a set and forget and you never have to do anything. Guess what? That's a surefire way of doing it. It's like turning on a fire hose and then just like, to turn off or to manage a fire and it just never, stops. You're just going to waste a ton of money. It's not actually going to really grow you in any capacity. Sure, it's probably getting some sales volume and it's probably quote unquote keeping you at your ACoS. But my favorite example of how AI advertising works is reverse bell curve. And this is going to turn into a whole thing. So here's the thing, Shane. So in the advertising world, I believe there are two different schools of thought with advertising, and one of them is improper. The other one is proper. Let's share this tab. Let's say that you have a ACoS. Let me just pull up one of these. So let's say that you have an ACoS. Assume that this axis right here is a ACoS of 50%. That means that likely how a lot of people advertise is that they don't have many campaigns at 50%. Exactly. They are looking at your average of what you want to hit for your advertising goals, and they really don't have anything at that 50%. What instead they have is they have a lot of campaigns that are running at less than 50%. Let's say they're running at 5 to 20%. And then they have a lot of campaigns that are running way over 50%, 80+% up, right? That you're wasting a ton of money on over here. And you're not really actually growing anything over here, but it averages out to 50%. This is what I consider to be a reverse bell curve. The actual way you should be doing advertising and whatnot is an actual bell curve. You should have the majority of your campaigns close to your actual ACoS goal. And then the ones that are, anything less than within a 15% margin of that ACoS goal should be very minimal. Same thing with ones very high. Does this mean you shouldn't have any that are, 5% and any that are 80%? No, you can have 1, 2, 3, but you should have the majority of your campaigns as close to your actual ACoS goal as possible. I believe a lot of AI software work off a reverse bell curve. I think that a lot of the AI software inadvertently use a reverse bell curve to make it look like you're doing really, really well. But in reality, you're just not. The only other thing and that I would say is a lot of them also work like this. What you're specifically talking about with the set and forget would be that they look a lot like this if you were to put them on a graph. Just straight line. That's it. You set it, you forget. It's a straight line. You don't get to go up. You don't get to grow. You don't get to do anything. That's how I typically see most of them. Let's see, Marnie. We're gonna answer these last few questions here, guys. I'm just gonna try and speed run some stuff. When you're consistently ranking in top 5 on certain keywords, should I turn off PPC on that keyword or lower bids? Lower bids typically if you're already organically ranking on that keyword. It really depends, but realistically, even top 5 might not be really all that great. It's really top like 1 and 2. The difference between, placement 1 and placement 2 is like night and day, realistically. Alex, I created a shipment plan, got a FN SKU of X0000. I got that print onto my boxes. Amazon canceled my shipment plan. I had to set a new one up again, and they gave me a different FN SKU. Yep, they can do that. It's Amazon Barcode. They probably just voided your previous FN SKU, and you have to rebarcode it, unfortunately. Let's see. Will there be a replay of this? Yeah, we upload every single one of these live sessions to our YouTube channel. You can always check them out afterwards. It goes direct to YouTube, and you can just go through the entire thing again, and as many times as you want, even. Let's see. Thoughts on Freightos? I don't know what that is. No, either way. Speed run. Oh, and why am I always missing these great live sessions? I just got one email 30 minutes before this started. Can I see somewhere else when these live sessions are? I do this one every single Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Every single Friday. I am here at 12 p.m. Eastern to answer any and all of your questions for about an hour, hour and a half. We also do ones on Tuesdays as well, I think at 12 Eastern. Riyadh. My product got taken down for patent infringement, but other sellers still selling the same product that I am, their own listings. Can I tell the Amazon seller the other seller still is, so why can't I? Because you got hit with a patent infringement by the patent owner and you are somehow infringing patent. Unfortunately, no. You need to talk to the person who hit you with a patent infringement or talk to a patent lawyer. There's not a lot you can do with patent stuff, and Amazon tries to play ball as much as possible in these scenarios. All right, guys, I am going to call it there because I gotta get going. That being said, I will do a little outro spiel here. For those that do not know, my name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy, this little company up here. What isn't My Amazon Guy? Well, we are a full service Amazon agency. We're the Amazon agency that gets your products seen and sold on the platform. What does that really mean? Well, it means we have a variety of different services that we offer: full service management, advertising management, full account audits, etc. We do design, troubleshooting, SEO, everything you can possibly imagine. If you guys are looking for coaching or anything like that, guess what? You can get some coaching sessions with me. Ask some of these questions one-on-one. Have me solve your specific problem for you. That being said, again, my name's Noah Wickham. You can check me out on LinkedIn or, check me out again on this live stream next Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Every single Friday I will be here. And look forward to it and hope everyone has a great week and weekend ahead. See everybody.